ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Stellaris. Yes, that pause was intentional. I'm gonna do a sort of, kind of quick playthrough of this game. Chiefly because I actually really like this game. Usually I don't get into the resource managing civilization style games. But on this one occasion, because it's not turn-based, it's apparently struck a huge chord with me. I love it. So I'm going to quickly go through the character creation. I do already have a race, and I will be using them, but I'll show you guys all the stuff in the character creation. And kind of familiarize you guys with how everything works. So one of the first things is the appearance. Now, ironically, I have a problem with the diversity of the character creation screen, or more specifically, the lack thereof. Don't ask me why, but for some reason, like, a lot of these faces, I mean, and don't get me wrong, I understand you had artists put in a great deal of work and effort into these, but I click here, I see platypus. And when I say I see platypus, I mean just like I see fox here, I don't see anything that distinguishes this from having been an actual fox, save for the fact that it has arms and ears, and longer ears. Like, I don't know, like, it's one of those really minor, but, you know, odd details that, you know, I would be the kind of person to pick up on. And it's sort of a similar story with all the rest of these. Like, clearly humanity is the top choice. See, they wouldn't be too bad. A little bit of what was Rakshasa the turtle from the old Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles movie? I remember Rakshasa, I don't remember the other one. Nor do I actually remember which one was Rakshasa. And don't get me wrong, I said, I've seen people play through this game and select several of the others, and honestly, it really doesn't make that big of a difference in the overall grand scheme of the game. But I mean, it's clear that, so in a moment I'll show you sort of what I mean by, so like, there's not a lot of distinction between I mean, there's actually just not a lot of distinction in the character designs. I mean, yes, there are some changes that can be made, colors and stuff like that, but so we go human, right? Human female. Now, I'll wager on a whim you guys wouldn't be able to tell me whether the rest of these were male or female. Right? I'll let you in on the secret. One, it's kind of a trick question, because they're all female. Like, all of these are female. Now, if I go to, what's it at? There we go. So if I go to ruler trait, if I go to ruler and select male, and come back here. Wait a minute, was it the male one that I wanted to select? There's a way to there is a way to change it. And I don't remember what it is, but yeah, okay. I mean, look. I mean, it's the same image. I don't know, like, it feels like there's more to be gotten out of this selection screen. So, so when it comes to all your names, one of the greatest tabs is this. Generate an adjective, right? I usually use the randomize button, but let's say you decide, oops, that you don't want to use the adjective, that you don't want to use the randomize button. If I can ever learn to spell. Your generate adjective button will actually generate an adjective from this name here. Whatever you type in there, no matter what it is, it'll generate an adjective from that. Like, I love that that's a feature that they were like, you know, sometimes people are going to want to enter their own names, but of course we need an adjective for the actual race. Like, oh, that is so awesome. Now, with the names tab, I haven't gotten a chance to use the prefix for the ships yet. It's not been one of those things that I've really been interested in. But as far as I know, I think it just adds sort of like a prefix to the front of your ships. So before the names of each of your ships, which that would be the ship names here, not the fleet names or planet names. Also, as you can see, that there are several different options. Actually, those are actually a lot better. Also notice that human only has 2 selections. A little bit unfair there, don't you think? Probably because it's hard to come up with human names. But yeah, I usually end up going with the human names anyway, because they're slightly more legible. So yeah, I mean, I really like this game, though obviously with recording and play times with Giraffarama and everything else, it's not necessarily easy to get around to getting something new out, and also that it's a little bit difficult to really kind of get started into a new game, because of course you got to figure out your features and stuff like that, and then of course you have my problem of the microphone, so of course I had to switch over to Audacity and all that stuff. So the trades screen is one of my slightly more favorited screens. So I have a pretty much dedicated set number of traits that I'm usually always going to pick through. But the way it works is anything in green subtracts from your points. So you have 2 trait points, and you can select up to 4 traits. Now, as far as I know, you have to have all 4, but I could be wrong on that. There is a very real possibility that you can get away with only 2. Now, these red ones have negative effects. So, these guys won't adapt, huh? Actually, that's a pretty good trait. So, I mean, I really don't use the adaptation stuff. See? you lose a bit to hospitality, to habitability, but I mean, you got terraforming machines. So, but just to show you guys, so if I put this here, that gives me +1 trait point, but it takes away a trait slot. Right, now, yes, I could go in here and give them all negative status effects, right? But of course, once I reach 4, I can't select anything else, right? But look, I have 6 points. Yay! Which obviously do me no good. And of course, you have some stuff that require something like 4 points. So, like that's -1. Let's see here. So yeah, you can't actually exceed the requirement for the number. Well, I mean, you probably could. I mean, this game does have mod support, though the modding community for this game is not like massively strong. I can get rid of that. So I usually do 1 negative trait, and that allows me to do quite a few positive traits. I usually always will go with enduring. I would like to get, excuse me, I would like to get this one because of course it's 120 years versus an extra 30, and trust me when I say that it does come in really handy. But the problem with this one is, of course, as you see, it takes 4 points, and getting 4 points is not easy. So we'll go with that. So this is the other screen where you can sort of alter your appearance, but notice that there's not a lot of body change, and I'm not saying that there needs to be, obviously, but see, this is why you don't wake up early in the morning to do a recording. So, like, I'm not saying there used to be a lot of body change, but I mean, I don't know. Maybe I'm just being a little bit too nitpicky. And of course, you can also change their clothes. And there's not really a lot of clothing options here either. I'm sure there's a mod. There's a mod for that. Now, actually, I think, no, I haven't reached that screen yet. So, of course, I always randomly generate. One of the things I will say that I do like is that they have the Soul and Deneb systems already implemented into the game. So that's wonderfully fantastic. And then, of course, you just have a random starting location. I usually always go with random starting locations because if you find the Soul system, you will find humanity. And, of course, you can uplift humanity. I mean, and be the race that brought humanity into a new era. So, there are several different starting worlds, from continental to tropical, desert, arid, tundra, Arctic, and of course, oceanic. I know that says ocean, but that's what it is. It's an oceanic world. And of course, you get to choose between all of your building styles. Now, these, as far as I know, do not have any real big effect on how the game is operated. It just determines what your cities are going to look like, what your structures look like whenever you go to put them down. I believe the last time I went with arthropod cities, because I actually like the way they look. It's got a very stylish design. So the government and ethics screen. This is the one that means everything. So as you see, we have our nice wheel of beliefs here, and beliefs that are across from each other cannot coexist. So if I choose militaristic, which I always do, I can't then choose the peaceful. Pacifist is what I keep trying to say. Ugh, it was right there on the tip of my tongue. So I usually go with a militaristic and xenophile. Now, xenophile is different from xenophobe. Okay, so xenophiles actually like aliens, xenophobes don't. I actually believe I have enough for one more, and I think the last time I did materialistic, but I don't remember. No, I did collectivist. But if I remember correctly, if you choose one of the top tiles, the fanatic, it takes 2 slots, right? Now, this is the one. This is where you get into your government screen. Now, I noticed that a lot of people kind of... No way. Ah, okay. So these tabs, these bottom 3 tabs right here, will always stay lit up. Always. The rest of these, the ones that are grayed out because of the traits that you pick over here. Now, for me, the one that I go with pretty much every single time is this one. The military dictatorship. It means you don't have to worry about picking a ruler, you don't have to worry about going through election processes, and you don't get pop-ups on your screen every few minutes. Also, naval capacity and ship upkeep are reduced, right? And this is the Empire name. Now, for this one, I recommend like getting like a word book or something like that and doing this yourself, because this is the name that's going to show up whenever you are anywhere. Like, this is the name that's going to be seen like all over the place. So let's move on to our flag. So there are mods that allow for a few different varieties of stuff, but as you can see, there's no scroll bar on the side of this, right? None whatsoever. So what you see here is the complete list of flags being selected. Now there's a scroll bar over here, but I mean, obviously. Nothing. And then of course you have your primary and secondary colors. Now I will change these around. So your primary color, as you can see on the flag up here, that will be your primary color, and then of course your secondary color is... Now, I do wish they had a few more options as far as your pattern selection goes here. Uh-oh. We can make it... no, because it was it white? No, we can't quite do white. Ah, I was hoping we could make the umbrella symbol. We finally made it. Uh, I do wish there were a few more options here, especially on the design side. But again, like I said, this game does have mod support, so I'm sure there's a mod out that increases the number of patterns and stuff like that that you can have on your flags. Now, let's talk weaponry. All of these things have their advantages and disadvantages. It is a really good idea to go into the character creation screen and read through all of these things, because once you're in the game, if you just select one of the easy starts, you will not be able to see that. Like, it won't tell you that the projectiles are really good against shields. The energy weapons are good against armor, and the missiles are good against. Let's see. Missiles are long range. That's what it is. Right? Now, these weapons determine what your people have starting off. And I always go with the energy weapons. Just basically from a pure engineering standpoint of them just being more efficient. Okay? That's just the way it is. So, when we move on to the warp travel or the FTL system, this is where things get tricky. So the best way to move through the galaxy is wormhole travel, right? It's point to point within a certain radius, however. So of course you will have to continuously build wormhole stations, but it does slow the game down significantly. And that is something that I haven't heard a lot of people talk about, is that the FTL systems do determine the pace of the game. So warp travel is not necessarily the fastest as in terms of not really moving through the systems, but it's not really the fastest in the sense that the gameplay goes quicker. It's the fastest in the sense that you spend less time having to worry about resources and being limited to how far you can travel. With warp drive and I believe wormholes, hyperspace as well, you can pretty much travel freely. However, with wormholes, you have to have the wormholes set up. You have to have the generators set up in various systems in order to spread outward. Now, here's the kicker. When it comes to building a empire, wormholes are one of the best ways to do that. Because, of course, you put down a station and your empire more or less expands. You get a bit of expansion the more wormhole ports that you have. And of course you can change how quickly they run and get to a point where you can almost instantaneously get back and forth between areas. Unlike warp travel or hyperspace, where there's always going to be a bit of a time delay. But as you can see, for new players, it's recommended that you use warp travel, and that's part of the reason why, is because it's a lot easier and you don't have to worry about maintaining a wormhole generator. So we'll select that. Now, the ship designs do come into play, especially when you start getting into the larger ships like the battleships and the carriers and stuff like that. Well, not carriers, cruisers. For the small ships, however, they're basically going to look like you see in these pictures. The last time, again, I went with the arthropod ships because I wanted to see what they look like. The fungaloid ships actually look like they might be pretty interesting as well. Now, unfortunately, you can't rotate these images and see the ships from the sides. I would really like to be able to do that. Because, I mean, sometimes a ship looks good from the, like, okay, going into a bit of a car topic here. Sometimes you see a car that looks fantastic from the side, but then not out so great from the front. That's kind of what I'm getting at here. The ships are the same way. Sometimes they look great from the side, but then from the front, you're like, ooh, wow. So, we'll go with arthropod. And whenever you're done, you can either save it, and if you save it, that of course puts it into the list of... That puts it into this list here. Okay. Now, of course, as you see, these right here are all pre-made races. And they all have their own pre-made stats and all this stuff that the developers have put in for your viewing pleasure. This one right here, this is mine. They are the Borg. I know, right? And I might actually try to change these guys back to wormholes, because it did actually make things a lot easier going forward. And you can do that here in the edit screen. So like if you've already made a race, or if you want to start with one of the other races but want to change some of their stats, just go here, click edit. You can change any of the aspects about them. So I can go in here and I can put these guys back to wormhole travel. Or I can change their fire, their weapons usage. I can change any of the stats or any of the screen stuff that they have. And as you can see, I have slow breeders, endurance, resilience, and strong. I actually might change that, come to think of it, because one of the biggest things that I found with this, especially with the military, is your what is it called? Your research, specifically, to be specific, the engineering research is crucial, right? So you guys will see when I get into the gameplay that so I did go with the mammalian. Okay. So you guys will see when I get into the gameplay that building ships and getting the space station up to code is getting the space station upgraded as quickly as possible is really going to be huge for me, because I need bigger ships because I'm a military power. So getting the bigger ships, getting the bigger warships is really big for me. So the sooner I can get the spaceport upgraded, the sooner I can get to the bigger, higher tier stuff. So the last thing I'm going to go through in this video, right, and I know that this has been a video of just talking about the creation screen, and that was kind of the whole point. I wanted to get the boring character creation screen stuff out of the way, also to let you guys know, hey, I'm doing Stellaris. So first and foremost, I do have a mod installed. I should put an image in the editing screen that I recorded earlier. It is the removal of the it removes the upkeep cost for forward operating bases. Specifically, it removes the influence upkeep cost, because for me, gaining influence is insanely difficult, especially with a military power. So I've removed that. It's a little bit cheaty, but it doesn't really unbalance the game too badly. But getting back to it, so you have your different star systems. Now, I will be playing on a small star system with not a lot of Empire stuff. Like I said, I'm going to be doing a small playthrough. I'm not going to be doing a huge, galactic, massive playthrough like some other people are doing. This is going to be a small, kind of quick playthrough, just to kind of show you guys how the game works, how everything plays out. Now, I will say that I usually put the AI start down to 0, because that usually means, as far as I know, that the AI will start basically at the same spot that I start. So they'll start on a planet with a space station, versus already having a preset empire and having most of the galaxy already explored before I even get there. Now, as far as I know, the allowed FTL travel, as far as I know, the only person this affects is your person. Like, if I have this set to wormholes or hyperdrive or warp travel only, those are the only methods of travel that I can use. The reason that's a problem is because, of course, the game says that's all I can use, but the computer is still allowed to use everything else. So yeah, see what that means? It says be chosen by regular empires. And I'm assuming that by regular empires, of course, it means by players. So I leave this set to any. Although that said, I have yet to go through a game and actually find the means to obtain the other travel types. And of course, you'll see that the game will throw in a bit of a few curveballs at you from time to time, but again, like I said, you guys will see that when we get inside the game. Galaxy shape. So as you can see with Tiny, you have the elliptical and ring type. I actually prefer the ring type, to be honest with you, because of course it means that I have two sides that I don't have to worry about being attacked from, right? But if we upgrade to small, I get the 2-arm spherical. A spherical is kind of similar to the Milky Way galaxy in that you have sort of arms, spiral arms. Why did I say spherical? Spiral. Ugh. But yeah, you have spiral arms coming off, and there are small gaps in between, but travel through the system is still possible. And of course, the larger the galaxies get, the more spiral arms you get, up until you get to huge, in which case, you know, it sort of stops. So that's what I'm going to be doing. Obviously, not right now, but next time I will be playing through the starting missions of the game and all of that. So if you guys are interested in Stellaris and are wondering what the actual gameplay is like, please join me for the next video. Otherwise, to that, I'm done for the day, and I'm going to say sayonara.